All right. So this is my spoiler review for the drama. So, as I already stated, this is a spoiler review. Spoiler. That means I'm going to spoil the entire story and plot of this movie to have a cohesive conversation, So this is going to all be spoilers. If you want to watch the drama regular review without any spoilers, which I think I did pretty good without spoiling anything, you can watch the drama spoiler-free review. Just look up the drama with my name, and you'll be able to find, or go to my channel, you'll find the drama movie review. Just the drama movie review, not spoiler review. Check that out if you want to watch that. Now, I'm going to spoil this movie. 1, 2, 3. Spoiled. All right. So, this movie is about, can people change? And it's about thoughts versus actions. That's how I feel when I watch this movie. This movie has sparked a lot of conversations, and there was something that this movie brought to light, as far as not light, but it was something that it was a memory that it was something that I remember that someone told me a long time ago. I will share that story later on. But the point is this: can people change? And if someone tells you something, are you gonna have any humility, or are you gonna have any empathy and be able to, actually have a conversation about it, or are you just gonna dismiss them because you don't like what they said, or you don't like the thoughts that they had? Because, like I said, this is thoughts versus actions, and let's just do the spoils then. So, before the wedding day, they're sitting down and they're all talking about, they're sharing their stories. Zendaya's husband's best man, he says, he got into a fight with his ex-girlfriend in Mexico or whatever, and there was a dog that came out of nowhere, and he used his ex-girlfriend as a human shield to block her from the dog. That was his bad thing, Some people I'm like, oh my God, he's so horrible, why'd you do that? Okay, so that's his bad thing. He used his ex-girlfriend as a human shield. He didn't want to get bit, and he was already mad at her. So there's a lot of things working around the reason why he was like using his ex as a human shield and didn't want to get bit. Next, we have the best man's wife, which she said that there was a mentally challenged kid at a camp, and she locked him in a closet or a shed, and she left him there for like a whole day and a half. There was a police search and everything. The dad went to ask the best man's wife, oh, did you see my son? She said no. And it's a miracle he didn't die or anything like that. But they found him, and it was on the news the next day, and she never told anyone, and no one found out that she left this little kid in a shed. And that's what she did, which I think is insane. But there's levels. Then there's Zendaya. Zendaya's husband, he didn't say anything, but Zendaya, she said she planned a mass shooting, and that was the thing. And I'm not gonna gloss over that, but she said that she planned a mass shooting, and she didn't do it, but she said that she was in a dark place as a teen, and she planned it, but she never did it. And she says it like, she doesn't say it casually, but she kind of does. But I think it's because she is so comfortable with this group of friends and her husband, and she's very drunk. So she's probably like, she's comfortable, but then she's drunk. So it's a combination. But the fact that she tells them something so dark, some thoughts that are so dark, there should have been a small point of, obviously there's a lot of shock. First is shock, and then there's dismissal of her, like what the heck, you're crazy, from her maid of honor. And the husband, he's so shocked too. I understand the shock, but there should have been a small moment of, empathy. Like, oh, why were you, like no one tried to dig deeper in that moment. Everyone was just straight up crucify. Like, they should have just, but I understand they're all drunk. So it's not, no one's thinking in their right mind. Everyone is so heightened. So that's probably why as well. That also goes into it. What I said in my review is, like I said, it's thoughts versus actions. We all have thoughts. We all have super dark, terrifying thoughts, and we all have butterflies inside. We all have light and dark. It's a yin and yang. That's what makes everyone beautiful people. There's a constant balance. And then if you break that balance, sometimes you gotta do some things. Sometimes you have a really bad day. Maybe you gotta go do some yoga. Maybe you gotta lift some weights, work out a little bit, get it out of your system. Sometimes you just gotta read a book. Certain things you do to balance out the thoughts that you have in your mind. We all have these anxieties and different things. So I don't feel like because someone had these destructive, and they were in a very dark place, and they have these destructive, terrifying, horrific thoughts, that they want to do these things to people, but then they don't carry it out. I don't think you should just dismiss that person. I think you should at least talk to them, at least figure out why they felt that way, why were they in that deep dark place, what got them out of it, and sometimes people are so quick to judge, quick to cancel people, all these different type of things that we do. So I really like this movie. I'm a very big fan of movies that are like taboo. I love thought-provoking movies, and this movie sparks so much conversations. I seen a review online between it was like a movie couple, and they were doing a movie review together. And in the middle of the review, they literally got into an argument, like an actual argument. You could tell like they probably like, all right, should we upload this? And they just uploaded it, and they got into an argument. But at the end, they found their way through. But basically, it's just because this subject matter brings up a lot of things. That brings a lot of things into question, like for example, someone says, oh, in the movie that they cheated on someone, and then Robert Pattinson's character is like, oh, who cares? Because he just got told such a big revelation from his fiance that he's like, oh, cheating. It's not that cheating isn't bad, but in that moment, he just like he wanted to hear something deeper from someone else, and then he was like, oh, like how long was it? Like how long were you in that relationship? Like he delved a little bit deeper to see how bad that cheating actually was, and then yeah, so but obviously cheating is already bad, like some people say certain things are gray in a gray area, certain things are just black and white, but then like, all I'm gonna say is let's go back to the movie. This movie, I find it very good. It's very good, very thought-provoking, and I like, one of my favorite parts of this film is when Robert Pattinson is having to come to grips and telling her, okay, yeah, I can move forward, I could try to not think about this. And then during the film, you see him walking around, and he's walking around with like a younger version of her. Like in his mind, he's thinking about her as a kid. And you see her as like this misguided teen, and like she's down, and he's like holding her hand, and he's walking through the park, and like he's doing all the things he would do with his girlfriend, but he's looking at her, and she looks like her younger self. And I thought that was a beautiful way to show Robert Pattinson's thoughts, and kind of show a visual representation of him not being able to move forward with her, or with this current version of her. He's thinking about the younger version of her. And I think this film has people in a lot of different ways, but when you're a teen, the emotions are so intense and so strong. And, it's insane. High school is insane, okay? And the world is insane. But the point is, when you're a teen, you're feeling all these feelings for the first time. And I can have a lot of empathy for her, because one of the things I seen some reviews where some people saying, oh, Zendaya didn't get that much, you didn't get to see too much of Zendaya's backstory. But I think you got a decent amount. I understand it was Robert Pattinson. We got to see how he's reacting to the situation. But the thing that saved the movie for me as far as Zendaya's character is when you see that she tells him, oh, the main reason that she didn't go through with the shooting, which is kind of insane, is that there was another shooting that happened, and someone in her school got taken out, and then they, she just didn't want to do it. She lost the fire. But also, it even goes even deeper than that, because she tells him a little bit more. Why? After that person got taken out, they had these group meetings in her school. They had everyone go around the room and just hug random people, and she actually hugged her bully, and she started breaking down crying, because she's having all these emotions of feeling like, dang, I could have did this. This could have been me. And she throws away the gun. She starts advocating for gun rights. Like, it's interesting how that course of events changed her. But also, one thing I really wanted to talk about is community. Community is so important. Even like people know community is important, but movies like this really bring it to the forefront of your mind, which is like, you have a kid who's like really excited, and the teachers say he's a bad kid, but then you put him in arts, and then now he's like the best actor in the world, and you're like, oh, maybe he could be an actor, maybe he could be in music. Like, there's certain things that community helps. And it's funny, because when I think about community, like, you see how no one was really, when she was a teen, no one was really around Zendaya as a child in the movie, or Emma's character. And once that shooting actually happens, and she didn't carry out the shooting because another shooting happened. But the point is, after that series of events, when they had the counseling and everything, the grief counseling, she got to be a part of a community in her school. People started to notice her. She had this knowledge about the shootings already, so it was because she did research, so she was able to really talk about it. And then she became an advocate, and she became like pretty much the face in her school of, going against gun violence, which is kind of ironic. But that sense of community helps shape her and helps her go more of a positive path. So I really like that they did that. And then one thing I think is really interesting too, the other day, and I haven't played basketball in probably 2 years. You know, I don't really play basketball. I like playing basketball. I just don't, you know, I don't play basketball, but I used to when I was a kid. But the point is, I was in LA Fitness. I was swimming or whatever. And then I was leaving. I had my had nice shorts on or whatever. And I had my headphones. I had some shades on. I was about to leave the gym. And then this random guy, he asked me, he's like, yo, bro. He's like, yo, Shades, come play basketball with us real quick. We one person down. And then he asked another person. The other guy said no. He's like, yo, just real quick, game to 15. I haven't played ball in like 2 years or whatever. And then I was like, all right, cool. So I come through and take off my shades. I play basketball. Then we playing ball for like 30 minutes or whatever. All these guys and stuff I never met before. And it was a great experience. That day, I'm gonna tell you, that day, I wasn't feeling like the best, but that lifted my spirits so much. And that was like last week. And I still feel like great from that experience. You know what I mean? And it's just, community is so important. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I have to be best friends with them for the rest of my life, but just small moments of that, of like community and just being around other people, and just, it helps so much for mental health and a lot of things like that. So sometimes you just gotta get out of your shell, or just go places you don't really go, and, you know, see where things can happen, you know? Also, something that some people may not agree with is the maid of honor. She was so harsh on Zendaya, or Emma's character, after what she told. And the thing is, Zendaya didn't do anything. She planned a lot of things, and she ultimately didn't do it. She didn't carry it out. You know what I mean? And the fact that the maid of honor didn't want to dive deeper and try to, obviously, like I said, they were drunk, so that's why she might have been in a lot of, she would have been, that's why she was more maybe on the attack mode. She wasn't really in, everyone was heightened because of the alcohol. That's what I think that made that very entertaining for that moment of the film. But what I'm gonna say is, her character actually did something. She locked the kid in a closet or whatever, left him for like a day and a half. The police had to find him. And the point is, she actually lied to the dad. When the dad asked her, where's my son? She could have said, oh, your son might be, if you want to check there. Like, no, she left him. And what if he died? But he didn't die. So I just feel like that's so much worse than just having intense thoughts. And I know I'm minimizing it, but she actually did something. Like, it's just, there was no like self-reflection there. And then another point of no reflection that I have to talk about is, even though right now I'm protecting Emma's character, Zendaya, now I'm going against her. She fired the DJ. This pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, this pissed me off, but it also showed the true nature of how sometimes people could be so hypocritical. She fires the DJ for, you know, she thinks she's doing some crazy drugs. We're not completely sure that was her. She saw her on the street in the nighttime. Maybe it wasn't her. Who knows? But even if that was her, you know that you just divulged this intense secret, and people, and your husband is being on the forgiven side, and then you fired the DJ. But I think she really fired the DJ because she was already being so persecuted by her husband and her friends and everything, even though her husband was trying to have empathy and understand her secret. I think maybe that's why, because of all of that pressure, that's why she ultimately fired the DJ. Because in the beginning, when they were all telling the secret, she was like, oh, but, you know, that's not her. Some people do things. Are we really gonna fire the DJ because of her doing drugs? She's just playing music. Like, she was kind of dismissive. But then she had this whole switch up during the wedding where she fires her DJ. So I think it was because of the pressure of everyone around her. That's why she ultimately did it. But that was so hypocritical when she did that. I was like, don't let her go. But I think that was her lashing out in a way. That's kind of what I feel about her, the actual action that she took there. And then the last thing, I'm gonna share a story. If you made it to this review this long, now you get a story. So, if you want, you do not have to listen to the story. This is the end of the spoiler review. So if you want, check off. This story is going to probably be about maybe 2 minutes if you want to stick around. Because I think it is important to the subject matter of this film. And I thought about it because I can't believe. And I remember I only told like two of my bros, or two of my friends when I was in high school about this. Well, there was a girl that I knew from Valley Stream. I grew up in New York. So there was a girl that I knew from Valley Stream. She was a cool girl. And, you know, we had a beautiful summer fling. And I remember I had a pet turtle at the time. And I remember every time she was come over, she's like, oh, I hate turtles. And then I just never really questioned it because we were just messing around or whatever. We weren't in a relation. We were just, you know, having fun for the summer. And I think either the fourth or the fifth time she came over, she goes, yeah, I used to have a turtle, but it bit me. And she says this so casually. I remember it very vividly. This is exactly how she said it. I used to have a turtle, And she was like leaning back in bed, just like relaxing. I used to have a turtle, but he bit me. So I took a pencil and I stuck it through his head. And I remember just watching him trying to get back in the show, and I just was like, I hated him. And I never got another turtle after that. She literally said that to me like that, like so casually. And I remember like I was laying in bed like, and I have a pet turtle at this time for like 7 years, so I'm attached. I love my boy Leo. I still remember Leo. When I think about him, I love my boy Leo. But the point is this: when she told me that, I was like, I think I was 16 at the time. I was like, I think I literally just moved the conversation to something else, and I never talked to her after that. That was the last time she was she was the last time she was in my room. And I remember because this is besides the point, but I'm vegetarian now, and like I eat seafood. I'm a pescatarian. I eat seafood and veggies, whatever. And I was vegan for a little bit. But the point is this: I remember we had a super good buffalo pizza I got afterwards, after a great time, and it was great. And she's like, yeah, maybe I'll see you later, or whatever. Like, yeah. And then after that, I literally never text her ever again. I don't even remember her texting me after that because I like blocked her out of my mind. I didn't block her at all. I just don't even remember texting her or talking to her after. I never. That is a that is me shutting someone off. That was basically actual cancellation for me without even knowing what that is at the time. And I shared a story because I haven't thought about that in a long time. But then after a week after I saw this movie, I was thinking about it. I was like, I actually was in a situation not similar, but kind of. But this person actually did the action. It wasn't a thought. It would have been different. She said, "Oh, I thought about it. I thought about taking a pencil and doing that." But then I was like, nah. He just biting me because he's just being feisty and I don't want to touch his head and he won't come out his show. But she did it. At least that's what she told me. And I never spoke to her again. So I guess that's my that's my little story. But so I mean, if you would still talk to her, do whatever you want. And, you know, there was some things that she was amazing at, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me to stay. But damn, man. All right, let's go. This is too long. You got the story to say, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the film and share your thoughts. I can't wait to talk to my girl about this and, you know, see the film with her and see how long we have a conversation. Couples will be talking about after this movie for at least maybe like 4 or 5 hours. Who knows? Maybe 8 hours. Like not in total, but I just mean like this is a movie after you see you go back when you talk about certain things in this film. But yeah, if I had to rate this film, someone asked me, just like I did in my movie review, I would say 4 out of 5. And I'm actually going to see it again tonight. So I like seeing movies with Pat Growl. People are still going to see this movie, so I'm curious to feel the theater reactions. But you guys take care. Peace out. And this is my spoiler review for the drama. Stay your Notre Dame, spread love and light, and save the turtles. Shout out to Leo, and peace out. How are we gonna sign off? Let's sign off with a shot. Psych.